It's another amazing episode on Health Zone, and today we are going to talk about colon cancer. Yes, a lot has been said, and we've all heard a lot of stories about this particular disease, and it's quite sad looking at the circumstances that we find ourselves in when this cancer, this dangerous disease attacks us. Let's go for a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about everything that we need to know about colon cancer. We'll be right back.
Perfect Living TV above and beyond.
Welcome back from that short break. Now, everything you need to know about colon cancer. Colon cancer develops when tumorous growths develop in the large intestine. It is now the third most common type of cancer in the United States. The colon, or large intestine, is where the body draws out water and salt from solid waste. The waste then moves through the rectum and exits the body through the anus. Okay, now colon cancer is also the third most common cause of cancer-related deaths everywhere in the world. In fact, in 2009, the American Cancer Society predicts that over 101,420 people in the US will receive a new diagnosis of colon cancer because of what they found out after doing a test for these people. Now, healthcare professionals recommend attending regular screenings for colon cancer from the age of 50 years. Colorectal cancer, which describes co-occurring colon cancer, and rectal cancer, is also common. Rectal cancer originates in the rectum, which is the final several inches from the large intestines closest to the anus. In today's episode, we are going to look at how to recognize and treat your colon cancer, why it develops, and how to prevent it. Now let's look at some causes of colon cancer. Usually, cells follow an orderly process of growth, now from division and death. However, cancer develops when cells grow and divide uncontrollably, and when they do not die at the normal point in their life cycle. Most cases of colon cancer originate from non-cancerous tumors called the adenomatous polyps. This forms on the inner walls of the large intestines. So the cancerous cells may spread from the malignant tumors to other parts of the body through the blood and the lymph system. These cancer cells can grow and invade healthy tissues nearby and throughout the body in a process called the metastasis. The result is a more serious and less treatable condition. The exact causes are unknown, but colon cancer has several potential risk factors. Now let's look at polyps. Okay, colon cancer usually develops from the pernicious polyps that grow in the large intestine. The most common types of polyps are the ademonia. This may resemble the lining of a healthy colon but appear different under a microscope. They can become cancerous. Now, let's look at the second one, which is hyperplastic polyps. Colon cancer really develops from the hyperplastic polyps, as they are technically benign. So some of these polyps may grow into malignant colon cancer if a surgeon does not remove them during the early stages of treatment. Now let's look at some factors that can also contribute to having colon cancer. Now, number one is the genes. Uncontrolled cell growth can occur following genetic damage of changes to your DNA. A person might inherit a genetic predisposition towards the colon cancer from the close relatives, especially if a family member received a diagnosis before the age of 60 years old. Now, this risk becomes more significant when more than one relative has developed the cancer over the years. It is possible to have this genetic feature without developing cancer. This is because the cancer will not develop unless an environmental factor triggers it. Now let's look at the traits, the habits, and your diet. Age is a significant risk factor for colon cancer. Around 91% of people who receive a diagnosis colorectal cancer at over 50 years of age. However, it is becoming more common in people under 50. That is where the risk factor is. Colon cancer is more likely to affect people of inactive lifestyles, those with obesity, and individuals who use tobacco a lot. As the colon is part of the digestive system, diet and nutrition play the central roles in its development. Low fiber diets can contribute. Also, according to one 2019 review, people who consume excessive amounts of the following have an increased risk, such as saturated fats, red meats, alcohol, processed meats, underlying conditions, and etc. Now, a person may have an increased risk of colon cancer if they have undergone radiation therapy for other cancers. Some conditions and treatments have linked to an increased risk of colon cancer. Now, let's look at some symptoms. Colon cancer is one of the most common forms of cancer in humans now, and it's developing rapidly. And this means we should take a great look at this. Colon cancer often causes no symptoms in the earlier stages. However, symptoms may become more noticeable as it progresses. These symptoms and signs include diarrhea or constipation, changes in stool consistency. We have loose, narrow stools. We have blood in the stool, which may or may not be visible. Sometimes we have abdominal pain, cramping, bloating, or gas, continual urges to defecate despite passing tools regularly. Now we have weakness and fatigue, and then unexplained weight loss rapidly. We have irritable bowel syndrome, and then iron deficiency anemia. If the cancer spreads to a new location in the body, such as the liver, it can cause additional symptoms in the new area. Now, let's take a look at the stages. There are different ways of assigning a stage to cancer. Okay, so the stages indicate how far a cancer has spread and the size of any tumors in the body. In colon cancer, the stage developed are as follows. The first stage is stage 0, also known as the carcinoma in situ. At this point, the cancer is in a very early stage. It has not grown further than the inner layer of the colon and will usually be easy to treat. Now, stage 1, the cancer has grown into the next layer of tissue but has not reached the lymph nodes or any other organs. Okay, stage 2, the cancer has reached the outer layers of the colon, but it has not spread beyond the colon. I hope you are following. Okay, stage 3, the cancer has grown throughout the outer layers of the colon and it has reached one of the 3 lymph nodes. Okay, so it has not spread to distant sites. However, stage 4, the cancer has reached other tissues beyond the walls of the colon. As stage 4 progresses, colon cancer reaches distant parts of the body. So stage 4, you know that you are at high risk. Now, here are some of the treatment options. Treatment will depend on the type and the stage of colon cancer that you have. A doctor will also take the age, overall health status, and other characteristics of the individual into consideration when deciding on the best treatment option that will be recommended for you. There is no single treatment for any cancer. The most common options for colon cancer are surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation therapy. The aim of treatment will be to remove the cancer, prevent its spread, and reduce any uncomfortable symptoms. Now let's look at surgery. Surgery is one possible treatment for colon cancer. During the procedure, a surgeon will remove the part of the colon that contains the cancer, as well as some of the surrounding areas. For example, they will usually remove nearby lymph nodes to reduce the risk of spreading to other places. Now, the surgeon will then either reattach the healthy portion of the colon or create a stoma, depending on the extent of your colectomy. Okay, so a stoma is a surgical opening in the wall of the abdomen area. Through the opening, waste passes into a bag which removes the need for the lower part of the colon. This is called the colostomy. Okay, now other types of surgery include the endoscopy. Endoscopy is a surgeon may be able to remove some small localized cancers. Using this procedure, they will insert a thin, flexible tube with a light and camera attached at the end of it, the tip of it. It will also have an attachment for removing the cancerous tissues. Yeah. So now the second one is laparoscopic surgery. A surgeon will make several small insertions in the abdomen. This may be an option to remove the lower polyps. Okay, now the palliative surgery. The aim of this type of surgery is to relieve the symptoms in cases of untreatable or advanced cancers. A surgeon will attempt to remove any blockade of the colon and manage pain, bleeding, and other symptoms that you might have in your body. Now, chemotherapy. During chemo, a cancer care team will administer medications that interfere with the cell division process. They achieve this by disrupting proteins or DNA to change and kill your cancer cells. This treatment targets any rapidly dividing cells, including healthy ones. So this can usually recover from any chemotherapy-induced damage, but cancer cells cannot. A cancer specialist or an oncologist will usually recommend chemotherapy to treat colon cancer if it spreads really fast. Now, the medicines travel through the whole body and the treatment will take place in cycles. So the body has time to heal between doses. You get it? Yeah. So let's look at the common side effects of chemotherapy. Now we have hair loss, we have nausea, we have fatigue, we have vomiting after every treatment, and we have combination therapies, often use multiple types of chemotherapy or combine chemotherapy with other treatments. Okay, so radiation therapy kills cancer cells by focusing high energy gamma rays on them. A cancer care team may use external radiation therapy, which expels these rays from a machine outside of the body. So with internal radiation, a doctor will implant radiative materials near the site of the cancer in the form of a seed, and then all that will happen and it will destroy the cells. Now let's look at the side effects of radiation treatment. This may also include mild skin changes that resemble sunburn or suntan. We have nausea, we have vomiting, we have diarrhea, fatigue, you lose your appetite, weight loss, and most side effects will resolve or subside a few weeks after completing your treatment. So don't worry, you will be fine. Diagnosis. A physician will carry out a complete physical examination and ask about personal and family medical histories. They may also use the following diagnostic techniques to identify and stage cancer. Now, colonoscopy. A doctor will insert a long flexible tube with a camera on the end into the rectum and inspect the inside of the colon. So a person may have to follow a special diet for from 24 to 48 hours before the procedure. The colon will also require cleansing with strong laxatives in a process known as the bowel prep. It's a whole lot. So let's go to the next stage. Okay, now let's look at the double construct eczema. Now, this X-ray procedure uses a liquid called the barium to provide clearer images of the colon than a standard X-ray. So a person must fast for several hours before undergoing a barium X-ray. Okay, so now let's look at the preventive measures that you can take. There is no guaranteed way to prevent colon cancer. However, some preventive measures include maintaining a healthy weight, exercising regularly, consuming plenty of fruits and vegetables and whole grains, limiting the intake of saturated fats and red meat. People should consider limiting their alcohol consumption and quitting smoking. Very important. Now, screening, either a colonoscopy every 10 years or a sigmoidoscopy every 10 years plus free testing every 2 years plus fecal testing for every 2 years. Now, the right regulatory of screening depends on an individual's level of risk. So consult a doctor for recommendations as to how to go about your problem and how it will go far to help you. My name is Jennifer Amlade. This is where we end today's episode. Please like, share, comment, let us know your thoughts. If there is something that you want to add up to this topic, if there's any question you want to ask, just write it in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification button so you will be notified anytime we make a post. Thanks for watching.